Merry Meet. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are working a psalm spell today, and today we are working on Psalm 6. Now, traditionally, Psalm 6 is used to bring relief for people who are in distress. It's a great psalm to use for good health, to maintain and achieve good health, and also for compassion, either for yourself or for others, or from others. Now, the other thing about Psalm 6 that's so important to understand is that it is part of a collection called the Purification Psalms. There are 7 purification psalms, and we use in Magick, we use the purification psalms to do just that, to purify our lives of any kind of negativity. Now, if you are experiencing any time in your life when things just really seem to be bad or really wrong and you just don't know where to turn to, I would recommend that you take that collection of 7 purification psalms and work on one psalm every day. It'll take you 7 days to get through the entire cycle, and then see how things are. And if they still seem like they're bad, do another one, and then maybe do it a third time if you need to. And usually people notice that the purification psalms, especially when they work the entire collection like that, one psalm per day, seems to clear up a lot of negativity that nothing else seemed to be able to help. All right, so the way we work a psalm spell is very simple. We take the psalm in question and we read it out loud all the way through once without stopping. We call this an incantation. Once we have done that, we go back through that same psalm and we go through it slowly, verse by verse, sometimes even line by line, and we search for hidden occult meanings within the psalm, and we try to apply those meanings to the situation that we have come to the psalm to solve. And it's through this searching, this seeking, this finding, and this application that we are actually finding those seeds and then digging and planting those seeds deeply in our minds, where they in a very real way, take root and grow and blossom and then bear fruit after their own kind. And that's what we're going to do right now together with Psalm number 6. O Lord, rebuke me not in thine anger, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, for I am weak. O Lord, heal me, for my bones are vexed. My soul is also sore vexed, but thou, O Lord, how long? Return, O Lord, deliver my soul, O save me for thy mercy's sake. For in death there is no remembrance of thee, in the grave who shall give thee thanks? I am very weary with my groaning. All the night make I my bed to swim. I water my couch with my tears. Mine eye is consumed because of grief. It waxeth old because of all mine enemies. Depart from me, all you workers of iniquity, for the Lord hath heard the voice of thy weeping. The Lord hath heard my supplication. The Lord will receive my prayer. Let all mine enemies be ashamed and sore vexed. Let them return and be ashamed suddenly. All right, this is awesome. Isn't it a great psalm? So let's get to it here, working this magic. It starts out by saying, O Lord, rebuke me not in thine anger. Well, now we all know that the Lord doesn't get angry with us, nor does the Lord rebuke us. But if it feels like the Lord is rebuking us, well, first of all, let's determine what we're talking about and who we're addressing here. Who is the Lord? Now, the Lord of the Psalms, when we are working Psalms magically, is not a deity that's separate and distinct from us. It is the force of life itself, and there is only one. There's only one force of life. There's only one mind. There is only one life. There's only one source. There's only one substance in all the universe, and that is what we call the Lord. Now, the Lord is not male, even though it's a male term in the book of Psalms. The Lord itself is not that. It's not a male and it's not a female. It's pre-gender. And the Lord is the only power. And therefore, when you come to the one power of the universe for help, there's nothing that can oppose you. And the Lord is your creator. It's the force out of which you were created. And the force of the Lord is this force of the universe, and it is perfect. It's perfect, infinite intelligence. It knows everything. It knows how to create babies out of embryos, and it knows how planets can revolve around a sun. It made you. It made all of the complexities of you, the uniqueness of you. It's infinite love. It's perfect love. It's the force of perfect love itself, and it loves you infinitely and unconditionally. It is pure and perfect law. God's laws cannot be violated. There is no law that is above God's laws, and God's laws supersede everything, and God's laws are there for your benefit and for your protection and for your benefit. And God's laws are there for your protection and for your benefit. So it says, O Lord, rebuke me not in thine anger. Well, how could the Lord rebuke you? And how could the Lord be angry with you? That's impossible. It would never happen. It could never happen. It's unconscionable that the Lord would rebuke you in anger. Now, it can seem like the Lord is rebuking us in anger, and that's when we get the results of our own causes. So if there is a mental cause that's causing a physical response in the world, we can say, why is this happening to me? Why is God mad at me? Why is God rebuking me in anger? But that's not what's happening at all. It just can appear that way because what we tend to do is project onto God that which we are doing to ourselves and saying, God, why are you doing this to me? And that's not at all what's happening. Neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. Well, God is not displeased with you. Did you know that it's impossible for you to displease God even when you try your hardest? You could be the most evil person in the world and God would not be displeased with you, because the only thing that you can do that's evil is behavior. But your evil behavior cannot change the essential goodness of who you are, because you didn't create yourself. And you don't have the power to uncreate yourself. And you were created perfectly. And you were created perfect. And who you are as a soul is perfect. Now, how you express yourself in the world can be very imperfect. Who you are as an ego and how you choose things, and the choices that you make, the decisions that you make here, and the actions that you participate in here can be very bad, can be very imperfect. But that doesn't change who you are, because from God's point of view, the stuff that's happening in this world isn't really happening, because from God's point of view, what we are experiencing is a fantasy land, a fantasy world. We are stuck in a dream. We have fallen asleep to who we are, and God is just waiting patiently on us to wake up. And we can have ourselves be helped to wake up in a very gentle and loving way by calling on God and recognizing that God is never displeased with us. In fact, God is highly pleased with you. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, for I am weak. O Lord, heal me, for my bones are vexed. Okay, so the beauty of the Psalms is they don't fake it. We don't say, oh, everything's cool. No, we get to the heart of it. Everything sucks, God, and I need help. And this is a great place to be, is to recognize that things are not the way that you think they should be, and that you can't fix it on your own, and that there's only one place to go for help, and that is to the Lord. We are asking for mercy, and remember that mercy represents the sphere number 4 on the Hermetic tree of life, which is Jupiter. And Jupiter is all mercy, and Jupiter is all fairness, and Jupiter is all justice, and thus Jupiter is all prosperity and all goodness. So all is working out well for you as a result of you aligning with God's mercy. My soul is also sore vexed, but thou, Lord, how long? Okay, so your soul can't be vexed, but it can seem like your soul is vexed when you have that vexation going so deeply into your personality that you don't see an end to it. So that vexation seems so big that it's coming from your very soul, but your soul doesn't get vexed. Your soul wasn't created by you. Your ego was. Your ego was created by you. Your personality was created by you, and it can get very vexed. But your soul, no, the soul is still just perfectly safe and happy and joyous and free, living at its home in heaven, as what's called heaven in the Psalms. And is very happy and content and being and having exactly what it was created to do, be, and have according to God's divine will. So even though it can feel like your soul is sore vexed, it's not, but you are. You are. And then it says, but thou, Lord, how long? So have you ever felt that way? How long? When is this going to get better? Are you ever going to fix this? Did you forget about me? Hello? Hello? Is this line working? Is this thing working? So it can feel that way, but remember why it feels that way when you feel like you don't have an answer from God. Because you're trying to ask God to do something God can't do. I know that it doesn't sound appropriate that God can't do certain things, but God can't go against God's own laws for you. God can't. God wouldn't be God if God went against God's own laws. So if there is a cause that's creating an effect, God can't say, well, we're gonna stop cause and effect just for you because you're so sweet. Because then what would happen? Then gravity couldn't work anymore. Then your body couldn't work anymore. Nothing could work anymore because the laws of cause and effect were completely obliterated because you needed special favors. Right? So that's not how it works. It doesn't work that God reverses the laws, his own laws for you. Their own laws, I should say. That's a better pronoun for God. Their own laws for you. God wouldn't do that, can't do that, never going to happen. However, God can realign your causes so that they line up with the effects that are good for you. That God can do, but that entails God tweaking you and tweaking your mind, tweaking your intentions, tweaking how you approach your life. And that definitely God can do, and that will create new results for you. Return, O Lord, deliver my soul. O save me for thy mercy's sake. It feels like that, doesn't it? When things are going so bad, God must have left me. God must be off doing something. God's so busy. Return, please. Well, God never left you. You left God. And you can't leave God, but you can sure leave your understanding of God. You can leave your experience of God. You can turn your face away from God. And when you turn your face away from God and you turn your face away toward your problems, guess what you get more of? Thanks to the law of cause and effect. You get more problems. But if you learn how to take those problems to God and turn your face to God and think about God instead of the problem, then you can see that you have a new cause and you'll get a new effect. And that means that those problems will be solved oftentimes in an instant. It says, deliver my soul, O save me for thy mercy's sake. Now that's a very smart thing to say to God, even though you're asking God to return when God never left. So now when you're turning your face to God and you're addressing God and you are paying attention to God, now you understand that God can deliver you. God can deliver you from the problems, not solve the problems, not teach you how to solve the problems, but take you out of the problem and right into the solution. That's what we want. Save me for thy mercy's sake. So save me for the sake of who you are as that sphere of mercy on the tree of life. All mercy. There is nothing too good for you on that sphere. God doesn't hold back for you. God never holds back with you. God wants you to have everything that he already gave you. And what did God give you? He gave you everything. They gave you everything. That's what God gave you. And that's what's yours. And now you want to have the experience of having that which God has already given you. God doesn't need to do anything to fix you or to perfect you or to make things better, because God's already done it. It's us who need to be guided so that we can start using our minds correctly and then release the experiences of the truth about who we are, release that perfection into our actual experience in this world. For in death there is no remembrance of thee. In the grave, who shall give thee thanks? Well, now this is just the way we are, isn't it? Just like, well, maybe I'll bargain with God. I'm going to bargain with God. That works. So, God, you want me to be happy and you want to save me, because if I die, then who are you going to have giving you all this wonderful mercy, all these wonderful thanksgivings and praise? And I mean, I'm not. You'll lose out. If I die, you're going to lose out. Well, for one thing, God doesn't need you to give them thanks. God doesn't need that. God doesn't have an ego. God doesn't need you to tell them how wonderful they are. You need that. You need to express gratitude. You need to praise God, because it puts you in alignment with your good. But you're not doing it for God's sake. You're doing it for your sake. God already is in tune with who God is. God doesn't need your help. Okay? I am weary with my groaning. All the night make I my bed to swim, and I water my couch with my tears. Well, if you're weary with your groaning, imagine how everybody else must feel. I'm sure you're not the only one that's weary of your groaning, but being aware of that is good. You're done with it, right? You're saying, I don't want this anymore. I'm weary of this. I'm done with crying all night that my bed swims. I'm so done with this despair. I'm so done with this part of my life. Mine eye is consumed because of grief. It waxeth old because of all mine enemies. Okay, so mine eye is consumed because of grief. When your eye is consumed because of grief, that can be that you're crying, but it can also be that you're consumed with the vision of that which causes you grief. But here's the trick on that one. You will start seeing something differently when you stop grieving. When you stop grieving. Now, we're not saying that you should stop grieving if you have, if you've lost if you've lost a loved one or if you've lost a relationship. Everybody has to go through a period of grieving. But if you're just grieving out of habit and you don't know anything else and you don't know any other way to be, you're going to see, your eye will be shown constantly reasons for grief. But if you give up the grief itself, then your eye will always be shown that the other things that were already there, but you were not capable of being aware of them because you were consumed with grief. So if we think that once my situation changes, then I'll feel better. But in reality, once you feel better, your situation starts to change. And that's what we're doing with this psalm. It waxeth old because of all of mine enemies. So your enemies may seem like people. They may seem like situations. You may really be able to prove that it's because of this person or because of that situation that you have problems in your life. You may really, really have a good case, but it doesn't matter because God is not fooled. God knows what cause and effect is. The cause is your mind, and then the effect is your experiences. So whatever inside of you, either conscious or unconscious, whatever causes that are in there, which are the root of this problem that these enemies are reflecting, that's what we want to have removed from us. And here's another little hint. You're not capable of removing those things for yourself because you're too good. You are so good at creating whatever you create because of who you are, because God created you, so therefore you're just as good as God is at your creative abilities, but you have learned how to misuse them, and so you create a lot of bad things for yourself. And you're so good at it that you can't get out of it. You're too complete. You're like locked in there, and there's no escape on your own. But God knows exactly how to fix it. God knows exactly how to get everything right again. And it takes but an instant. So when you are coming to God for the solving of these problems, then you're coming to a place where the solution actually exists. If you're trying to fix it yourself, it's just a delay tactic. There is no healing that can happen all by yourself, because you already are the author of the problem. And since you are so good at authoring those problems, you'll never see how to get out of it, because you created it too perfectly. You've created a closed system for yourself. But God knows the way out, and God will take care of it in an instant. Then we change our mind finally. We finally change our mind, and we say, "Depart from me, all ye workers of iniquity, for the Lord hath heard the voice of my weeping." So we're acknowledging that God hears you. We're acknowledging that the workers of iniquity, which are really your own thoughts, can't stay because the light has come. The darkness cannot dwell where the light exists, and the light has come, and it will shine out, and it is shining away all of those dark thoughts that are causing these problems. Now, again, you may not be consciously aware of the fact that you are the cause of these problems. So we're not saying that you should feel like you're to blame, but the cause of the problems only seems like they are outside of you. They are already in your consciousness, which is great news, because now that you've invited God to come in and clean those things out, all of the external problems have to clear up. They have to, because that's the law. Thank goodness, right? Isn't that good news? The Lord hath heard my supplication. The Lord will receive my prayer. Yes. Now, here's another little tidbit of wisdom. The Lord always hears you. The Lord always hears you before you ask. The Lord knows what you need before you do. And any solutions to your problems, they are already there. The solution is already there. Now, like if a teacher puts a math problem on the blackboard, and then the student has to come and find the solution, it's not that they have to create the solution. The solution's already there. They just have to discover the solution. They have to uncover the solution. They have to realize the solution, right? And then if they put the wrong answer down, the teacher's there to say, "Nope, not quite. Try again," because there is only one answer. There's only one answer, but the answer is not something that the student comes up with. It's not just the student's, quote, intention. Well, it was my intention that 2 + 2 is 5. Or, well, it's my truth that 2 + 2 is 5. No, 2 + 2 is 4, and that's just how it is. And there's only one answer. The same is true for the solving of your problems. There's only one answer, and the answer's already been created. You don't have to create the answer. You just have to allow the answer. You have to allow the answer to be discovered and then to be demonstrated. Let all mine enemies be ashamed and sore vexed. Let them return and be ashamed suddenly. So all your enemies are all those thought forms, are all of those thought forms, are all those dark thoughts, all those dark emotions, all of the things that are on the causative plane that are wreaking havoc in your life. And let them be ashamed and sore vexed. Yes, let them be ashamed and sore vexed. Let evil destroy itself. Let it fall away into the native nothingness from whence it came. That's basically what we're saying. Let the dead bury the dead. Let the darkness be destroyed by the light. And when we say let them be ashamed, that's another way of saying let's put a scarlet letter on them so the next time I'm tempted to think those kinds of thoughts, I'll remember not to do that again. Let them return and be ashamed suddenly. In other words, let all of this happen in an instant. Let all of this happen in an instant. The solving of this problem is an instantaneous thing. It doesn't need to be a long process. It's now. It's today. Let's just be done with this. And that's just how we do it. We just take it that way. And you just keep coming back to that psalm again and again until you start having some peace about whatever the problem is that you're bringing to the psalm. And once you have a sense of peace that everything is working out, then you know that your spell has taken. And then you can move on to something else. Now, like I said, if you've got some real seemingly what you consider to be big problems that won't go away, extra tenacious problems that things seem really bad and bleak, then go through the entire cycle of those purification psalms at least once and see if you don't feel more peace. And if not, do it again, and then maybe even do it a third time if you need to, until you get that sense of peace that everything is working out perfectly. And then you know that your spell has taken and all is well. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really appreciate it. I cannot wait to work with you again. And until next time, blessed be.